Dane's heart raced as he plunged his hand into the ocean of sweaty palms, fingers brushing a cold metal trophy. The crowd roared, their chants vibrating through the air like a seismic wave, each voice building on the last until it became a singular force that surged toward the stage. "You can't beat the hype," someone shouted, and he could feel the weight of expectation pressing down on him like a thick fog, as if the sheer energy of the moment could crush him. The annual Hype Olympics had transformed the sleepy coastal town of Ashford into a carnival of excitement, where even the most mundane activities were elevated to ludicrous extremes. This year, the stakes were higher than ever, with competitors ranging from the local baker, Mrs. Bubbles, who was attempting a world record for the most extravagant cupcake, to the infamous prankster, Max the Jester Thompson, who planned to release a swarm of inflatable flamingos into the crowd. For Dane, the event was more than just a competition. It was a chance to prove himself. "Don't screw it up, man," whispered his best friend, Leo, his voice barely audible over the clamor. Leo had that wide-eyed, caffeinated look he always got before a big moment, as if he were ready to launch himself into the stratosphere. "You're the king of hype, remember?" Dane chuckled nervously. "If I'm the king, then what does that make you? The jester? More like your hype man." Leo shot back, a grin splitting his freckled face. "Just don't let the pressure get to you. The last thing you need is to flop hard on stage." As the announcer's voice boomed through the loudspeakers, Dane felt a knot of anxiety twist in his stomach. "And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've all been waiting for. Prepare yourselves for the ultimate showdown in hype and energy. Dane, Hype Machine, McAllister." The spotlight swung in his direction, a brilliant beam of light that seemed to turn the world to a hazy blur. He stepped onto the stage, greeted by a cacophony of cheers and jeers that resonated against the backdrop of the ocean's rhythmic crash. His mission was simple: to deliver the biggest hype moment the Olympics had ever seen, a task that seemed almost impossible, yet intoxicating. The stage was set with neon lights and props that dangled like swaying jellyfish from above. To his left, a giant inflatable unicorn bounced gently in the breeze, and to his right, a mountain of confetti cannons loomed ominously. The audience, a sea of colorful costumes and painted faces, mirrored his anticipation. Their energy pulsed, and he swore he could smell the cotton candy mixed with a hint of adrenaline. "All right, ladies and gentlemen," Dane shouted, his voice amplified by the sound system. "Are you ready to get hyped?" The crowd erupted, the sound rising like a wave crashing fiercely onto the shore. Fueled by their enthusiasm, he plunged into a whirlwind of antics. He juggled flaming torches, spun plates, and even attempted a backflip that left the audience gasping in delight. But deep down, he knew this was just the setup. The real crescendo lay ahead. As the minutes ticked by, Dane felt the heat of the spotlight intensify. He glanced at Leo, who stood off to the side, bouncing on the balls of his feet as if he were about to explode. Dane's confidence wavered. Would he be able to deliver the grand finale he'd envisioned? The fear of failure hung over him like a dark cloud, but when he looked back at the crowd, their faces lit with excitement, he felt a surge of determination. "It's time to unleash the chaos," he roared, and with a theatrical flourish, he grabbed a remote control from his pocket. The world around him fell silent as he pressed the button. The ground shook, and a mechanical whir caught the audience's attention. Suddenly, a fleet of drones swooped down from the sky, trailing ribbons of rainbow smoke behind them. Gasps echoed throughout the venue, and for a fleeting moment, all anxiety slipped away. The drones danced in the air, creating intricate shapes, hearts, stars, and finally spelling out "Hype Machine" in dazzling letters. The crowd erupted in a frenzy, their cheers ringing in his ears like church bells, drowning out any lingering doubt. But just as he thought he had them captivated, disaster struck. One of the drones malfunctioned, spiraling out of control and heading straight toward the inflatable unicorn. The audience gasped collectively as the drone collided with the creature, exploding in a shower of glittering confetti and rubber. It deflated dramatically, collapsing in a sad heap that seemed to suck the energy right out of the air. Time slowed as Dane's heart sank. This was a catastrophe. He could almost hear the collective groans of disappointment, feel the excitement draining like sand through an hourglass. But with the weight of the world on his shoulders, he couldn't fold. He had to salvage this moment. This was the climax of the hype. Thinking quickly, he glanced at the remaining props. Inspiration struck. "Don't worry, everyone. It's all part of the show," he shouted, adrenaline coursing through his veins. What's better than one inflatable unicorn? Rushing over to the pile of props, he grabbed a ridiculous rainbow costume with sequins and fluffy feathers. 2 inflatable unicorns. The crowd erupted into laughter, their spirits lifting like a balloon. He quickly donned the costume, completely transforming into what could only be described as a flamboyant, over-the-top version of a mythical creature. As he pranced around the stage, shaking his glittery tail, the audience roared with laughter and applause. With renewed vigor, he grabbed a handful of confetti and began tossing it into the air, turning the disaster into a euphoric celebration. "Let's make some noise for the fallen unicorn," he called, mimicking a dramatic eulogy. "May it rest in peace, but let's party for its memory." The crowd joined in, chanting and cheering, their excitement building again. The energy swelled, and with one final flourish, Dane launched into a spin, sending confetti swirling around him like a storm of color. The audience was back on board, their laughter drowning out the earlier mishap. As he moved to the rhythm of the crowd's laughter and applause, he realized something profound. Hype wasn't just about perfection. It was about resilience, the ability to turn failures into moments of joy. As the final notes of the theme music played and the crowd roared, Dane felt a rush of triumph flooding through him. He may not have delivered the flawless moment he'd envisioned, but he'd created something even better, an unforgettable spectacle born from chaos and humor. When he took a bow, the audience erupted once more, their cheers reverberating through the night. He met Leo's eyes, and they shared a look of disbelief, a silent acknowledgement that the hype had indeed been real. Together, they soaked in the moment, basking in the endorphins of victory. Underneath the twinkling lights of the festival, with the memory of the deflated unicorn fading into the background, Dane knew he had conquered the hype, not through his perfection, but through his imperfection.